This is the preview here on Balls.ie in partnership with Ladbrokes, where we're looking ahead to Ireland versus Portugal, or Portugal versus Ireland, actually, more accurately, which takes place in Faro tomorrow night, Wednesday night. Stephen Kenny needs to get that World Cup campaign off the mark after 2 defeats, but they've had easier fixtures. Delighted to say that Kevin Doyle, Ladbrokes ambassador, former Republic of Ireland international, joins us to talk about it. Kevin, this isn't an easy one. The odds on Ladbrokes, we were saying before we come off air, we've never seen anything like it for an Ireland match. 20-1, Ireland are to win this game.
Yeah. You know what? I was thinking about it, and I think that's a bit unfair. More so, to be honest with you, probably not with our results, but to do with Portugal. I always feel the big teams come back from a major tournament. You know, they weren't great in the Euros, played good at times, and they left it sooner than they would have hoped. I just think there's always a bit of a hangover. Their first game back, it means a lot more to us this game than to them, you know, motivational wise. A few players involved in transfers. I just think maybe you're trying to get a positive out of it and trying to put a good spin on it. Maybe we could catch them on the hop a little bit.
Yeah. We beat Croatia in the World Cup 98 qualifiers after they finished, or in the Euro 2000 qualifiers after they finished third in the World Cup. But I think we might have had a stronger team back then, slightly. But I'm just thinking about this, right? So it's obviously been a disastrous start. The defeat to Luxembourg, obviously defeat to Serbia as well. Yeah. But the Luxembourg thing is going to hang over this team for a long time unless something drastic changes. But we've got 3 fixtures in the next week. Portugal is obviously the hardest fixture in the entire group. We'll have our 2 hardest fixtures played by the end of Wednesday night. Then we play Azerbaijan at home. We play Serbia at home. We fans in the Aviva for the first time under Stephen Kenny. What is success from this week? Is it 4 points, beat Azerbaijan, great, get a result at Serbia? Qualification is gone, but we might be able to build on things. Is it 6 points? Is it getting back in contention? What do you think is success for Stephen Kenny this week?
I think success, looking at those 3 fixtures, is not to be embarrassed by Portugal, to be able to get something. You know, we're more than likely, it's not definite, more than likely we'll probably get beat Portugal, but beat where it's not embarrassing, beat where we put up a decent effort. And if we manage to get something from the game, brilliant. It's, you know, anything can happen in football. 2 teams. I give my reasons why I think Portugal might be on, you know, at their best in the game. Azerbaijan at home, win. And then the Serbia game, yeah, get something from it. You know, possibly get a draw from it, possibly win it. You're home. The buzz we get, I think playing in front of a crowd, you know, we're talking about different teams up in Premier League. It's a disadvantage for some and it's an advantage for others. It's definitely an advantage for us playing in front of a crowd. We definitely get something from it. You always felt home or away from home playing for Ireland. I just think we always got better support than the teams we're playing against. It might have given us 1% or 2%, but it was enough. So I think it'll be a big boost for us at home. And I think the atmosphere will be good. I don't think there'll be any negativity in the first game, especially as long as we put up a decent performance, and we should get something from that game. That's what we need, a win in that game. And then again, Serbia 1, I'd be happy with a draw. Looking at it from right now, 4 points from the 3 games with decent performances in all of them.
Yeah, we'll have a look at the team Kevin has picked for tomorrow night and go through the various options open to Stephen Kenny in just a couple of minutes. If you have any comments or questions for Kevin, please do get them in on wherever you're watching, on Twitter or on Facebook or on YouTube. But Kevin, before we get that, you mentioned the fans there. I was just talking earlier on about the last game Ireland played, which was in Hungary before the Euros, where it was the last game of the Irish season, and like it was randomly completely full, and you know, there was a few issues there obviously, but it did feel like the Ireland had way more energy straight away. It felt like a completely different game. Now, we hadn't seen much football in front of crowds at all at that stage, so maybe that's a perception thing from our point of view, but I definitely felt like Ireland had an extra pep in their step from that. Obviously they'd got their first win under Kenny a few days before against Andorra as well, so I don't know. I'm looking for positivity, obviously, but it did feel like we ended the season with those 2 friendlies with some kind of, you know, at least something to bring into this season.
Yeah, you're trying to get anything from it, aren't you? You know, there's a big stat of how many he hadn't won and how many he lost or whatever. You're trying to turn it the other way and go, we haven't been beaten in 3, I think is the stat, or whatever it is, and you're trying to always put positive spins on things and get the start of something. That Hungary game as well. I was working on that game, and you're thinking Hungary weren't great going to the Euros. It wasn't a great performance for them, but they actually played quite well in the Euros, and that was their last game before the Euros. They had their strongest team out, and they were trying to put a performance for the home crowd. So you'd have to take a positive from that performance from us. I thought we were very good on the night. At the time, I put it down to a poor Hungary, but after seeing them in the Euros, I think it was just a good performance from us. After getting that massive monkey off our back and beating Andorra, and it was only Andorra, but you still have to go there and win. And we did comfortably in the end. So after a bit of a scare in the first half, but no, try to turn. Listen, you're supporting our country, you're supporting the players, the teams, you're supporting the manager. You're trying to look for positives in stuff and see the beginning of something, or hope to see the beginning of something, and that's what you're plucking from those end of season games.
Looking at your team here that you sent me earlier, we've got 3-5-2. We've gone for now. We've actually played okay with that formation in the last. Is this also though that we have to play basically with 6 defensive players plus the goalkeeper if we're to withstand Ronaldo, Fernandes, Jota, maybe Bernardo Silva, whoever? There's so many attacking options in that Portugal team. It's really scary straight away.
Yeah, definitely numbers back. You're trying to get defenders on the pitch. I wouldn't have played 3 at the back if we hadn't played it a few times. We played it in that, he sprung a surprise there last year and he threw it in where I haven't played it before, and I thought that was wrong to do it. But now we've played it a few times. Players should be a bit more comfortable, a bit more used to it. Shane Duffy, I think it has to be the centre. That he played on the right side of a 3 in one of the games. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, that was the Hungary game. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he played fine in that game, but he looked at times that he could be exposed to me on the right side. I think he's better in the centre of a 3, where stuff, he's more commanding, more people in around him. He's not getting played down the side, the right-hand side, the left-hand side of a 3. Really need to be mobile in a 3 at the back. I know Shane and Coleman are. So I just like the 3. It allows us to get 2 strikers on the pitch as well, and it suits the Matt Doherty, Seamus Coleman situation. Matt is a lot more comfortable if he's playing as a wing back and offers a massive attacking threat. So I just think it suits the moment. I have nothing for or against most formations. To me, it depends what we're used to, what we're playing, what suits the team and the squad we have at the moment.
It's interesting that you went for to possibly leave out John Egan. Then is that just a case of Duffy has to be the centre in this formation, and he's just playing? He's in form at the moment. Sheffield United aren't. They've dropped to the Championship. And just as simple as that, is it?
Simple as that, Mick. Yeah. John Egan, with my selection, I'm sure he'd feel hardly done by. But I think just Shane's gone through so much in the last year. You didn't expect him to come back and be in that Brighton team, and he has. And he started the season really well. And in the centre of that 3, he was he's been captain a lot of the time with Ireland. He's such a commanding figure, and he looks to be confident and be back to himself. He's been brilliant for Ireland. My one worry with him is his. In the way Stephen plays, I think he's a better player under Mick McCarthy or maybe a Martin O'Neill in the style of play. Under Stephen, he'll have a lot more ball to feet and have to play a lot more from the back, and and press higher up from the back, which leaves him a bit more uncomfortable, especially maybe in a 4 at the back. But with the 3 at the back and people in around him, I think he'll be fine. And that's it. Simply as you said, Mick. That's why I've gone for him over John Egan.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at the wing backs, then you mentioned Doherty. Ryan Manning is playing very well for Swansea so far. And you're trying to look for lads, I imagine, who are playing, and it kind of does. It's I think that's just not an option for Stephen Kenny or for you picking this team or for me picking the team with the players that we have available. They're just not all playing football at the moment. Maybe in a month's time, Conor Hourihane, who's just moved to Sheffield United, Malumbi, who's just moved to West Brom, will be playing a little bit more football. But who are you going to replace them with? Jeff Hendrick, who isn't playing football, so on and so forth. But interesting that there is a choice there at goalkeeper between Stephen Kelleher and Gavin Bazunu. And Bazunu is obviously playing really well for Ports, but Kelleher still obviously on the bench at Liverpool. But when he came on, I remember you doing the TV analysis on RT when he came on at half-time, and we're excited about these 2 young goalkeepers, and they'll be vying it out for another 10, 15 years. But you were talking a lot about Kelleher's distribution being that step up from what Bazunu was offering, is something that we might not always look at when we're talking about a goalkeeper and what they bring.
Yeah, I just thought Gavin was brilliant in that game as well. They played 45 minutes each. Gavin has been excellent. There's no real listen. I'd be happy with either choice. I just think Kelleher to me is a year or 2 ahead in experience. It looked a bit more calm and assured. I was just talking about there on the ball. The way we're playing now, and a keeper has a lot more, and he has to be calm and assured, and he gives defenders confidence when he's calm and assured. he can pick out at the moment. Gavin is not bad with the ball at his feet, in fairness, but I just think Kelleher just at the moment has a bit more about him when it comes to it. I know he's not playing, but he's at a big club and they have confidence in him to play, and a lot of our players aren't playing. So I would go with Kelleher. Wouldn't be, either or, to be honest with you. I just thought when he came on in that game, he was outstanding for 45 minutes, made some brilliant saves, first of all, but just with ball at the feet, just looks a bit more calm, assured, confident, doesn't look like anything would faze him, like he has done a few times he's played for Liverpool, big games as well. And it doesn't seem to faze him. So that's why I've gone for him over Bazuma.
Yeah. Look, I think either way, I think people are excited about either of them coming through. What do you think of Darren Randolph not being included in the squad, though, and even in terms of a call-up now when Mark Travers had to pull out? Like, he's sending an Instagram saying, I'm absolutely not retired. It'll be a long time before I am. I'm fit and I'm ready. Sorry?
I don't know, Mick. I find it strange because he doesn't seem to have ever done anything wrong. I know him, and he's, listen, I'm not speaking to him on a daily basis or anything like that, but I know he's not some people you might think maybe if they're not playing to be negative, whatever, he's not like that. So, strange one for someone who is a very good goalkeeper with such experience. He's not as good with the ball at his feet probably as the two lads, and that's maybe, from a selection point of view, why he wouldn't be starting for Stephen Kenny, but he's an excellent goalkeeper and has, different managers have gone through the last few years and different good and bad performances. He's not really been at fault for anything. So he definitely has a right to feel hard done by, and someone with such experience, even if he's not playing, to have him there. And he's obviously, as you said, come out and said, I'm definitely not retired. And he's made a point of saying that. So we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe there was an argument between the manager and the player, and the manager has decided, listen, I just don't want him around. I don't know. I go inside one on that.
Yeah.
So that's guessing, really.
Because it's a weird one that he wouldn't even, right, okay, he's obviously a good influence. He's a lot of experience, and you have two really young guys that you're trying to blood, surely even in a couple of weeks in the camp. But it's without making too big a deal of it, and it's like we're right in the middle of the piece here. We're not leading with it. We're not trying to grab headlines, but these aren't the kind of conversations Stephen Kenny wants around the Ireland camps. Like you have to leave out players, understand that, but it seems like you don't want guys kind of like having to stand up for themselves on social media and say, here, don't be saying I'm retired, I'm not, like, even address it in your squad selection or something. You don't need these kind of incidents.
Distractions, I suppose, isn't it? The less negativity and distractions and stuff you have to talk about, the better. And it'd have been an easy one to pick him in the squad and just not playing, and he'd been good for the two lads. His experience, if he's not playing, he's not, as I said, he's not a person to moan or be a grump around the place. So it'd been a lot easier to pick him than not pick him. And I suppose when things haven't been going fabulous, you want less negativity, the less the better. So strange one. Again, we don't know. I don't know. I genuinely don't know if something has gone on behind the scenes. I can only imagine that it must have. There must have been something or some argument or why I'm not picked or why I'm not playing. And Stephen has decided, well, that's the end of that. I'm not bringing him in anymore. But it's a strange one not to use we've other experienced players in there who aren't playing with their clubs and won't be picked in the team, but have been brought into the squad, I suppose, to be around and have a positive influence on players and try lend their experience. But not to be the case with Darren Randolph. I feel for him because he has, he's been around for a good few years now and hasn't put a foot wrong and is still a fit and agile and good goalkeeper. And you'd imagine has a lot to offer. But we have two good goalkeepers, I suppose, as we've discussed, but they don't have experience. So even having Darren there, training with them, coaching them in the dressing room before the game, just being that experience, relaxed, calm around them, and then he's been there and done that and played in major championships for Ireland. So I'm sure they'd look up to him and take in everything he says. But listen, again, we don't know the ins and outs of it or the real reasons. We probably won't ever either, Mick.
No, it's not easy to drop an established goalkeeper though in the squad. I'm not saying he shouldn't be in there. I think he should be, but I do remember even when Shea probably got to the end, he'd been there for so long. He'd been Ireland's best ever goalkeeper, and then it is hard to kind of say, here, sit in the bench here, Shea, for a while. It's a manager's job, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And Shea was older and probably coming to the end of his club career as well. So it was an easier one, I would imagine. It was an easier one for the manager with Shea, and he knew it was coming. Whereas with Darren, he's still young enough and still, still has a chance to be a number one goalkeeper at a club, number one for his country. I'd imagine he didn't see himself, I would say, not playing or not being picked. So they're decisions managers has to make. He's obviously, I'd imagine Stephen has put a lot more thought into it and than our 5-minute chat here and the ins and outs why he hasn't picked him. And he's obviously seen something that he doesn't like or isn't, wants to go his own way on it. And you have to just go with the manager. I suppose the easy option for him, as we said, is just have him in the squad and not play him. But he doesn't want to do that for whatever reason. It just leaves it open to questions and talking about it. And if one of those keepers, does make a mistake, I don't think they will, but if they have a bad game, that'll be the question. Well, why don't you have an experienced goalkeeper who hasn't had any issues playing for Ireland over the last probably 10 years? I'd say he's been nearly number one now, Darren Randolph. So, it's in a position you don't have to make that decision. There's plenty of tough decisions to make in that squad, and trying to get lads in who haven't got much experience. When you have someone with experience, not to use them, I suppose, is the question mark in my head.
Yeah. Just going back to your team, then we're making a case for the defense. There's excitement about the young goalkeepers. There's definitely an excitement about the forward line, if a worry there about inexperience and how much they'll develop. But I suppose the midfield is the area that we're probably most concerned about in terms of where we're going. Obviously, not having Knight there isn't great. Josh Cullen is slowly kind of, I suppose, establishing himself, and at least he's playing football. But the two other you've picked in there in terms of Hourihan and Malumbi, I just wonder what you think those guys, that trio has to do tomorrow night for us to stifle Portugal in any way, or even create some chances.
Oh, listen, it's hard to pick, going through who to pick in the midfield. Like, there's no one really, setting the world alight. Malumbi's not playing, but he's just gone on loan, and I thought he's good in games. I've seen him for Ireland. He's impressed me in spells. And Hourihan, I thought he pushed on a lot more over there. You would have seen him more than me at Aston Villa. I thought there was more to come from him. I still think there's something in there. He has a bit more experience than other lads in the squad as well. So that's why I've put him in there. And he usually has a quality delivery. Cullen as well, he's playing in a top division. It's not, he's playing for Anderlecht. They haven't had a good start to the season, but he is playing. And again, another player who I like when I see him play. It's from them, we just need massive energy and a bit of calmness on the ball. There's not going to be magic out of them. Be organised, be energetic, be reasonably calm on the ball, and whoever you pick in that position in midfield, those three are sort of interchangeable in where they are on the, of the three. They can all sit a bit, they can all get forward. Hourihan has really good energy at times. We're not going to get magic out of them. They all have decent ability. You're just hoping that they're reasonably well organised, reasonably good position to play. Don't give the ball away in city areas. Look to get on it. Look to be a calming influence. Look to take the pressure off the game. Look to play forward. Again, the 3-5-2 puts two centre forwards on the pitch and two wing backs getting forward. Look up, look forward. Don't take the safe option all the time. Yeah. Just good, decent midfield play, Nick. Not magic. You're just hoping that they're not playing Portugal away. Hourihan has experience. Cullen, Malumbi, not so much. That they're not a bit caught in the rabbit and headlights type thing. That they're able to deal with the pressure of it. And I think Malumbi to me, I hope he's gone on loan to play. So it's the start of the season as well. You're talking about some of these players not playing. None of them have played too many games. Even if a player has played, they've only played 3 games. So they're not missing out on match fitness really too much. They have a chance to go. They're going on loan, and a few of the players in the squad to get into teams to play games. So hopefully by the time we come around to the next games, again, they'll have played. They'll have games under their belt. But going through that midfield options, you could make a case for any of them really, and say they are playing. They can do a job, whatever it might be. So they were the 3 I settled on. Jeff Hendrick was one I thought about, but he's, it was between him and Hourihan for who I played there. As talked, Hourihan gives a bit more on him.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that in the last couple of days of people, like it seems to be one or the two, and then, the reaction is always, why them, no matter what it is. But it does seem to be one of the two, and people are looking for younger options. And if you look up front, then picking Troy Parrott and Aaron Connolly are definitely younger options. Ireland are 17-10 on Ladbrokes to score a goal in this game, or at least a goal, I suppose, more than 0.5 goals, as they put it. You know, in a weird way, you wouldn't be the most optimistic. The team you're picking there is quite attacking in a way, though. But looking at our attacking options, Kevin, like, you're going to pick inexperience either way. Here's what's in the squad. Like, so James Collins is 30 now, but only has 10 caps. Shane Long is not playing. Like, he's the option, obviously, if you wanted to go for experience in terms of goals or appearances with 88 and 17. But everybody else, you're kind of trying something with, really, aren't you? Like, so, you know, Parrott's playing for MK Dons. He scored a couple of times. And, you know, Connolly not really getting much of a look in with Brighton at the moment.
I know. And Adam Ida's been, you know, when he's been fit, he's been selected by Stephen most of the time. So that was one I thought about as well. I just think the way Parrott played reasonably well in those end of season friendlies. He got his goals obviously against Andorra, and I just thought maybe, and he started the season quite well. I know it's League One. I know it's, you know, down the divisions, but, you know, he's a player with a lot of potential. Shane Long obviously has been there and done it, but again, he's not playing for his club, and Stephen doesn't seem to. I don't think he's picked him to start really many games. I thought he could still do. I don't know. Maybe be going out on loan and playing. Yeah, you could pick any of these. James Collins, you know, offers a really good hold-up play, physical threat, but he hasn't really played that well when he has played for Ireland. I don't think he's massively taking his chances. Not that he's got too many chances. You know, he's another option, different to Parrott and Connolly. He'd be more of a one. If you were playing one up front, I'd play James Collins. Connolly, you just expect more from him. You know, he came on the scene so quickly, I suppose, or not, maybe not quickly, but he came on the scene in a flash, scored on his debut for Brighton. He has got real potential. He excites. He's one you love to see on the ball. He nearly tries to do too much when he's on the ball, to be honest with you, and tries to do something every time. If you just, you know, he doesn't have to score or beat people every time he gets on the ball. But he's got real potential, real skill, and he's the one. If you're not playing Shane Long, he's the one with pace, and one that makes teams think, maybe makes them drop a yard or two because they're frightened of his pace, and he can drift. You know, if you're playing Parrott will be down the centre, but Connolly can drift out wide and, you know, just create a bit of havoc maybe at times in other positions, and not just be sort of out and out front too. So again, like the midfield, you could have made a combination or a selection of any of those players. And again, it mightn't be out of strikers. You know, it mightn't be Connolly or Parrott. It might be one centre forward. It could be a James Collins with Horan supporting him, and another midfielder. Who knows what way he'll play it or what way he'll see it. But you know, if you're going to play the two centre forwards, I like that combination. A little bit young, hungry players, bit of pace. You know, Parrott got off his mark for Ireland. Neither of them are scarred too much internationally wise. But yeah, listen, it's hard to pick. I don't know, who would you pick, Mick, out of that selection to play? I don't think they're one Stephen will pick, but they'd be the ones I'd pick.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, and look, I mean, it doesn't matter who I'd pick, really. I don't even know, to be honest. It's interesting to see how much they all have that little bit of experience. It shows you that nobody's kind of shone through, and we kind of have to keep trying different players. Or there's been a lot of injuries and COVID and everything else as well. On Connolly, though, I was watching him. He came on at halftime for Brighton last week. I think it's his only appearance of the season so far, and everything just seemed to be about. I feel like there's a pressure on him. Just watching on TV, you don't know, but no other information. But you're just feeling like he's always trying to do that big thing that will maybe get the fans off his back or get Potter off his back or whatever it is. I wonder, will there be a slight more freedom in terms of playing for Ireland? In, you know, he knows, I guess, that he is needed more on the Ireland team, I guess, and you know yourself, you go away in international duty, you can take the pressure of the club game off your back a little bit. And we do know what he's capable of. He could be Ireland's X factor in a way. We just need him to get back into form. Yeah.
I'd imagine there's less pressure on him with Ireland because there's 4 or 5 strikers there. It's not like we're relying on him because there's no one, you know, setting the world alight. So there's no pressure from that sense. It's spread out among them. You're dead right about talking. I've seen him when he plays, and I felt that a bit with Ireland. He's always trying to take someone on, putting him in the top corner. That's the feeling that he's always, you know, and it's great to see it. And he's exciting to watch, but you just like him to do the simple thing, you know, 1 out of 3 times, and try to do something special the other times. But just take a simple option, a simple pass, I mean, you don't have to work really hard. I do think out of the ones that play there, he's the one that it takes him a second or two to switch on defensively. It seems to be like, oh, I've got a job to do as well, and it takes him a second or two to get back into position. The others seem to be a lot more tuned in that way. It seems like it's not something that comes natural to him, and it's not easy. He's an attacking player, but in modern football, you have to be as good in going the other way as you do going forward. But he's definitely got, we're looking for with Ireland. We're searching. We've always had loads of players who work hard and do the job right. But we don't have the X factor. He's definitely got the X factor. The X factor, just a quality and ability that or a dance show or sing off here. He's got a bit of quality, a bit of something about him. He can do something different, and I hope he can translate that into a career in football. There's so many players coming over the years who've got that. You can name them. I'm not going to name them now, but the ones with Ireland who've made a few appearances over the years and talked about to be the next superstars, and it doesn't go on to be. And I'd see them in training. They have more ability than anyone in the place, but they don't have long careers because whatever happens, I don't know. And I fear for Aaron that could be the case. He needs to. Listen, he's still very young. Just not feel like he has to be the superstar every time he goes out and plays. It'll come naturally if he just goes out and enjoys himself and not try to take on the world. I feel like that's the way he plays. He's trying to take on the whole 11. I might be totally wrong there. Mightn't be at all, but it just looks like that on the pitch. But he's definitely got something. That's why I have him there, because he's definitely got quality. Even he hasn't scored many goals, but the few he has scored for club have been special goals, good goals. And he needs to get a run of games. It might be a case of Brighton, it's not going to happen there and he has to go out on loan. Albeit, but he needs to play a lot. He seems to get a lot of niggly injuries. I'm dragging on here a bit about, and discussing him. But we're discussing him because he could be an important player for Ireland. I think it was the end of season friendlies and he got cramp after 60, 65, 70 minutes maybe. I'm thinking, cramp at 21. If I'd have got cramp and gone down and told people I'd got cramp at that age, I'd have been embarrassed, and I would have been embarrassed to tell anyone I had cramp. I'd have had cramp and I'd have ran through it. It'd be the greatest sin of all time. Get cramp. You're 21. You should be end of season fit as a fiddle. So, and he seems to get a lot of niggly injuries, and I don't know, sort that out. You need to sort it out. You can't be injured all the time. Football will pass you by and managers will give up on you, and it's easy to have a niggle and just opt out, and you can't do that all the time. You have to find a way to play games regularly and get into a team and stay in a team and become someone a manager can depend on. And that's the side of the game to me that's going to be the hardest for him. He has all the quality in the world and really does, but just putting that into playing all the time, playing regularly, getting some goals and having a long career. It's not easy, but he has to figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually funny enough. That's the thing I was talking about with someone with Aaron Connolly during the week. Was I'd love to just see him last the 3 games of the camp this time, and stay till the end, because it just feels like it hasn't happened since Martin was manager, really. I'll also take the blame for bringing up the X factor there, resorting to that cliche and putting the words in your mouth. So apologies for that, Kevin. But before we go, there's your team. It's 3-5-2. People will have their own changes, I'm sure, and we'll see what Stephen does tomorrow evening. But on the other team, moving off Ireland slightly, on the other team tomorrow night will be one Cristiano Ronaldo. Since we last spoke, he has made a dramatic return to Manchester United, to the joy of all Manchester United fans like yourself, despite the fact that he's 26 years old. Did Man City do United into signing an old player? And
so bitter, Maker, so bitter.
Are you excited?
You know what? From on the pitch point of view, he'll be fine. And he got more goals in the Italian league, I'm defending him here, than Lukaku last season. And people are saying what a signing Lukaku is, and he's going to get 30 goals a season for Chelsea this year. Well, Ronaldo was meant to have had a terrible season at Juventus, and he was one of the top scorers in the league. Listen, he's 36, you're dead right. It's not the world's greatest signing, but from a whole, just Manchester United and where they've been and the whole outlook the last few years, to be able to go and get him and sort of for the club, for the boost to the fans, he's still a decent player, and he'll demand he'll demand performances and demand wins, and he's still fit enough, and still, everyone's seen his body, you've seen him in the Euros, still scoring goals, he'll still do a job for them, and it hasn't cost them the earth. 12 million, I think it was, that had to pay up front. and plus his wages. But just having him at a club, the status and the commercial ability of him and all that, I'd imagine the transfer will pay for itself, or over the long term, it won't be a massive draw on their funds. So I was excited by it. I don't, you were talking about, did Manchester City goat Manchester United into signing them, or did Ronaldo's agent do a fabulous job of goading Man United into signing them, because they couldn't let him go to Man City, could they?
No.
But by making it seem like he would, Man United, from all reading up all about it, they had no interest in signing him, or didn't work out to sign him, and then they had no choice in the end because of, in fairness to Ronaldo and his agent, their game of they played it well, didn't they? Or maybe, as you say, maybe it was total reverse psychology, and maybe Man City played it well, and got Man United to get rid of a few more pound and sign a player who's 36. But no, he's a superstar. There's only two of them. There's Messi and Ronaldo, and that's been the case for a long time. There's only two, and I know he's at the end of his career. Messi's near the end of his career, but there's still the ones that stand out season after season, and to have them in your squad, whether he plays 30 games a season or not, just to have them there for another year or two, I think it's on the balance of it, it's a very good sign.
Yeah. All joking aside, I see no real downside. There's something to be said for exciting your fan base as well, and I haven't seen United fans like this in a long time. We'll see him tomorrow night. So if you're a United Ireland fan, you probably hope that Shane Duffy doesn't run through the back of him after 5 minutes. But maybe the rest of us don't mind so much if it gets Ireland the result. But if I was to put you on the spot, then you've been hinting at result here. The draw is 11-2 on Ladbrokes. What do you think?
Am I mad, Mick, to go for a draw?
You'd be madder to go for the 20-1 win, I suppose.
Yeah. Listen. If you're wanting to just a bit of hope and a bit of, all the reasons I gave at the start of this interview, why I think we might catch Portugal on the hop a little bit. Again, it depends on us and what way we are. I don't know. So hard to tell. A lot of players not playing, sort of who's going to play. But we did have a good end of the season camp, and we got all our players there, and they did get it seemed like they got that club-like atmosphere going. I'm going to go for, listen, my head tells me Portugal are going to win and probably win fairly comfortably. But I'm an optimist. I'm an Ireland fan. I always believed as an Ireland player going into a game we're going to get something from it. Didn't matter who we were playing. So I'm imagining those players feel the same thing. So I hate predicting Ireland are going to lose. So I'm going to go for an away draw, an organised, really organised, not backs to the wall, but just a really organised, performance. I saw Portugal. I'm dragging on again a bit here, but I saw Portugal. I can't remember who it was again. Could have been against Luxembourg, and they struggled to break them down. They won the game in the end, but they struggled for a long time with all those players you mentioned. All of them on the pitch, all their top players were playing. They struggled. So, listen, you never know. I'm going to go for a draw, Nick.
Okay, we'll take that. We'll take it for sure. That's 11-2 on Ladbrokes for a draw. But Kevin, thanks a million for your time today, and enjoy the match tomorrow night. If that's something that we do with Ireland matches, I don't know if enjoy is the right word, but we'll talk to you over the weekend when we're in between the home games. We'll have a catch up then.
Cheers, Mick. Talk to you then.
Thanks a million to Kevin. Of course, if you're having a bet on the Ireland games or anything else at all, please always gamble responsibly. Visit dunlewy.net for more information. Thanks a million to Ladbrokes. Stay tuned to Balls.ie for all the coverage of Ireland's 3 games over the next 7 days. We'll have lots of stuff on site and on our social channels as well. And enjoy the game tomorrow night. Hopefully, if you're going to one of the 2 home games, it'll be a bit of an experience. We've got 24,000 going to both games on Saturday and Tuesday. So the Lansdowne Roar will be back. Can't wait for it. Take it easy. Enjoy the game tomorrow night.